Honored to participate, and for the next 3 minutes I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I view literature and what I see in it and what it does for me. Got a box of photographs from my late grandmother. She was born in 1913 and she married my grandfather in 1933. They came from a culture in Denmark, farmland in rural Denmark. They were poor, they were hardworking, and one of the things that I always felt when I grew up was that silence was a very big part of communication, because they came from small communities where they were always afraid to be exposed to their neighbors for saying something that they were not supposed to. Their language was loaded with the fear of being shamefully exposed to the surroundings, so they learned how to speak in metaphors and between the lines. This box of photos, I saw them in their work life, in the kitchen, in the fields. They were caught in glimpses, in stables, in kitchen, posing with children on their laps. But the interesting thing is that their true stories were whispered in coolness, if they were articulated at all. And also in these photos, I found myself as a little girl staring at the person with the camera, as if the grown-up was a riddle that I had to solve, understand, and verbalize. I would often find her by the stove, stirring the pots with one hand and reading a book with the other. So I concluded a literature was a nourishment almost as important as the food we ate for dinner. But so many stories remained untold, and so many feelings were never exposed. And sometimes I felt like the grown-ups really wanted to talk, but it was not part of their culture. I also explored that the only way I could gain access to the inner lives of others was through imagination, psychological interpretation, and, as it dawned on me while watching my mom read by the stove, through literature. Because in poetry, short stories, and novels, my fellow human beings would finally be heard. I could gain access to their inner monologues, and I could hear their anger, their resentment, their sorrows, their frustrations and joys, and I could finally see their blindness as well as their amazing ability to see. I got mirrored in literature. I found a place where I could become three-dimensional. Finally, at the bottom of my grandmother's box of photos, I found 2 scrapbooks, and they contained poetry, because my grandmother, even though she was living in a culture where they did not tell stories, actually cut out poems from newspapers and magazines, and she had glued these poems to the paper in the scrapbooks. And I felt as if we shared a secret, my late grandmother and my mother and I, that literature recovers and discovers us. It makes us reflect and verbalize our lives, and it offers voices to those who are silenced, and it sheds the light on that which is kept in the shadows, and it makes all the sense in the world almost as important as the food we eat for dinner. So with this, I thank you for the participation in the EU China International Literary Festival. Thank you.